So, oh my god, I'm excited for this video. As you see, we get to open this package. And this has been sitting on this pallet, wrapped up since the day it got delivered, obviously. About a month now. But we're now got to the part of the build where we need to open this, get some measurements, check out what needs to be done. In order to do what this video entails, we're just going to be making some kitchen cupboards and some kitchen units and put the cooker in that in. So, let's get into this video. So, let's get this package opened. Nomadic Leisure. Thank you for your order and you're supporting our small business. How much does this cost? I don't think they're a small business. It must be millionaires.
How much did it cost?
£586 with delivery. A lot of money.
For a cooker to go in the pan. Well, you know, you could get a
Get one for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Today. As soon as you buy something with the word camper in front of it, or to do with it, you might as well add those pound signs. It's a bit of a joke really, isn't it? It's like Campervan tax. But people are stupid enough to do it. Like me. Like this guy. Voila.
Has it got hobs on the top as well? It has, yeah.
Let's have a closer look. So I'm just taking a little seat. So absolutely looks lovely, like mint condition, obviously brand new, but it's just so shiny. I'm well happy with it. I'm just like, yeah, that's nice. Look at that. Looks so clean. I'm actually really happy with just the look of it. So we've come back into the van, and the reason being is this board here, as you can see, is cut around a wheel arch. Now this is actually the template I used when I made this like cupboard storage area, and it's the one because obviously it goes over the wheel arch, identically on the other side. Now I have just trimmed it out a little bit to fit, to scribe to this wall. It was slightly out, only 7-8 mil, but I've scribed that, and as you can see, it's all nice and tight. Obviously the carpet's going in there, and there will be carpet on this side of it, so any gap there is going to get hidden with the carpet. Now you can see faintly that some lines in here. Now this line going up here and around is going to be where I cut this. This is going to be like a giant end panel. Obviously my worktop, and that's going to be here about 900 high, so I've just left a little bit flat bit at the end. Comes up here, and then this is going to be the area where I'm going to have some cupboards going along the top here. So best thing now is to get that line cut all the way down and use that as a template to then put on some 12mm ply to get a permanent end panel done, and then we can start building the cupboards out as we know where that fixed point is going to be. And there we go. And that is going to basically be the end panel. I'm trying to get it all in one shot. Oh, there we go. So that's going to be the end panel. Space up here to build the bridge units. Obviously not going to be very deep, probably about 250mm deep. At the deepest point, obviously the roof wall caves in, so it's going to be slightly narrow at the top, probably about 200 deep. And then this I'm going to be doing just over 500, 525 deep. So yeah, now we can figure out cupboards. So this is going to be the base unit for the cooker to sit on top of. That's going to go here, so hopefully I've worked this out right, and then I'm going to make a drawer here that can have all the pots and pans and stuff in. Now I've left a bit here for a toe kick, 3 inches by 3.5, but I'm actually going to put some 12mm bit here as like a plinth, so it's just enough for your toes to go into. And around the back you can see I've left this space. Now the reason I've done this is I've left a gas drop bit, so the cooker actually comes to here, and then there's a gap here of 50mm, which is going to allow any gas drop, and also I will have a gas drop out vent in the floor here. So yeah, And also, just because this is going to be gas unit, I am going to seal in all these corners to make sure it is proper tight and no gas can then seep through. So this is obviously the box bit that I made, and obviously this is the oven, yeah? I've just put them together to kind of see what's going on. Now, if you look under here, there's like a little lip that goes all the way along, just a very thin bit. And looking at the diagram that I'll show you here, right here, that says that that little bit there should go flush, or the front of this should go flush with the front of the drawers. But I'm assuming that that gap there should come to the front, and then obviously my drawer will go on here, so then this is flush with the front of the actual cupboard itself. I don't know, it's just really hard to work out because I don't actually understand what's going on. So what I've now done is I've moved this forward just over 1/2 inch. Now the drawer fronts I'm putting on should be 12mm, thereabouts. So I've moved that 1/2 inch and a little bit. So if anything, it'll be a little bit past where the drawer front should be. Now that means that this lies here. Now this gap here is now about 6mm. So if you were to do this and put 18mm ply on and make 18mm drawer front, this would then sit flush with the drawer front, which means that that lip there underneath would then actually sit flush pretty much with the front of this, and these would then sit flush with the edges. So when you put your adjoining cupboards next to these, that this lip here will actually then sit over like the front edge of them, if that makes sense, like that. So I think that's right. And also this bit here, as you can see on the diagram that I'm now going to put on the side of the screen here, that this bit is a gap. So this lip here sits flush, this bit here is up, and that makes sense because the measurement here is 463, which is what it does say, and here is like 450 something. So once this is actually sitting on the worktop, this will then be level, and then that will then get the gap because that wouldn't actually be sitting on anything where this bit will. And then I've also marked these lines, so when this is in place, you're meant to put like some sort of like battens here, and I'm guessing the battens screw to the cupboard, going to it, and then you screw through these holes here, this way, into the wood to hold that, and then when you open the top, you also screw through here. So where I thought I was really wrong, I may not be as wrong as I first thought. So yeah, let's crack on. So I've just wrote down what the height of the cooker on top of that little unit was, and the total height was 903. So that, my worktop's now going to be 903 to the very top, which means worktop's 21mm, actually it's 22. I just double checked. I'm going to go with 22 and then allow a little bit, like a mil. So if there's any problems, it's either perfect or a mil. So I'm going to go 22mm, which 903 take away 22 is 881. So now I've got to make my units next to 881, and I'm also now going to put that back into the van and then work it where my end panel is and see what the gap is from the end panel near the bed to where that unit's going, and see what the gap is, because that's what I'm going to have to be building my next set of cupboards. So as you can see, I've cut loads of panels. Now this one I've already cut out the toe kick bit at the bottom. This is going to be one of the end panels or sides of the unit, sorry, that goes next to the cooker, and then steps in a bit. That's the back, and these are two for the angled cupboard, which I'll show you when it comes to it. I'm just going to start trying to assemble these, and you can see this is a scribe line to the van, so I'm going to cut this first and see if I can get this to fit in tight to the wall. So that's obviously an end panel that's going to be going here, but I'm going to be doing that last because I want to get the cooker into place, and then the gas pipe's in that back corner there, so that's really awkward to get to. So I'm going to be putting everything in place here, connecting all the gas pipes, and then I'll cut that to fit around it and build that one last. But this one is what I've been doing. That's where the fridge is going, and I've also allowed plenty enough space wide enough and height, because there's 50mm gap back and top for the ventilation to come out. And I think when you open the fridge door actually opens kind of beside it, not in line with the side. So I've made sure I've allowed enough space for the door to open there too. And I've had to scribe around that pillar bit there and this whole bit here. So from afar, it looks really wonky, but it's actually to the contour of the van. So that's pretty good. Right, so back in the van. This is now the weekend. I've had a few things to do in the evenings this week, unfortunately, so I haven't been able to get a lot done. But one thing I've got to get done is this kitchen. That is my plan for this weekend. So let me turn the camera around and show you where we're at. So this is the second cupboard that goes next to the one with the cooker. Obviously it's all scribed in here, like you've probably seen already. Now all these lines on the floor is me trying to work out what I can do with the space I've got. This diagonal line here is going to be where I want my worktop to go to maximise the space from the seat and everything. And I'm going to have a smaller, like 300 by 300 square cupboard here. And I'm also going to have a slightly big one here. And these are the lines for the sink, hence why there's arrows. So what I need to do is I need to put a bit of wood all the way along the back here and for the back of the cupboards, and then figure out all the bits that go in between, all the uprights, blah blah blah. Now, these are all the bits I need. So this is for the first cupboard, which would be this one, furthest away where the sink's going, and this is all for the smaller cupboard. Now, let's run over here, and this is what I've got to cut that out of. So let's get a time lapse going. Well, we're kind of on Ship Street right now because all the batteries are dead. I don't know if I just forgot to charge them or I don't know. The thing is, I've got like these 2 amp hour ones and they don't even make this motor go around. It's one of my 4 amp hour ones is broken and the other one's on charge. So, and it's raining. Living the dream. So as you can see, I've just carpeted my side door. I still need to finish up the top and down this edge here, but it's raining, so I'm just going to leave it with some extra on there for now, and then I cut it off when it's not raining. But I've done all around the window and everything, and the reason I thought I'll do that is, one, the batteries are dead, and secondly, once these cupboards are in here, how am I going to access all this? So I thought, actually I need to get that done first, so I've just got that done too. I don't have to say nothing, you can see it, but I'm trying my hardest to ignore the rain and keep the progress going, but it's so hard, so demotivating, everything's soaking bloody wet. Right, so it's now Sunday and I've got to try and get this kitchen area done today, but there's some things I'm gonna have to do to try and make it work or come together. So let me turn the camera around and show you what I mean. So in the gas cupboard I've had to drill 2 holes out in that corner, and then that's to run this copper pipe through, because I'm gonna have to run the copper pipe through and then come in here. Now the cookers go in here, but the thing is with the cooker is the back here is where the gas pipe comes down. I'm going to have to connect the pipe to that. The only thing is, once, not this one, but this end panel is in, if that end panel is up, there'd be no way to access it. So what I'm going to do is try to get everything as I've done the line there for some sort of batten. So put a batten along the back, cut the worktop, or get it inscribed around the van, to then drop the worktop into place, which means I can then get the cooker in place because the edge of the cooker sits on top of the worktop. And then when that's into place, drill a hole through here in this panel, run the copper pipe from the gas cupboard underneath the beds through the panel up, connect it all up, do it all up here, then screw this into place, and then once that's into place, then figure out this cupboard separately underneath the worktop. So I'm going to have to kind of build it once the worktop and everything's already in place. And this panel here I've already cut, but I've done it wrong, or kind of changed things, because this is actually the same width for these cupboards, and if anything it needs to be about another 20mm further, because the doors and all that got to go in front of these. So, bit of faff, bit of sorting out, let's just get into it. So not that you can really tell, and it might be really hard to hear me right now because of the wind, but this is the new panel, and kind of as you can tell that it does stick out further. So yeah, that's 540 mm now instead of 525 like these ones. So when I put the doors on these, this should all run in quite nice. Now, I've cut a notch right there to run the gas pipe through, and I've drilled a hole there to run the pipe through. That pipe's going to have to come up through the gas drop area and then join onto the cooker here. So somebody's going to have to figure out a way to mount the cooker on here, mount the worktop on here, without this end panel in, so I can access from this side in this corner to do that up, which is going to be a pain in the ass. But we're going to have to just figure it out and then mount this panel into place. Now one thing I've just remembered though, before I do any of that, is I'm going to have to move this cupboard out here for the cooker to sit onto, and move that out and drill a hole through the floor, put a gas drop vent in. So let's get that done. So I don't know if you can remember, but when I stripped the van apart, there was a diesel heater inside, and this is the point where the air filter and the exhaust dropped out of the van. So I'm going to be using this area to put the drop vent in, so it saves drilling more holes and having more holes in the van. Let's go on the inside and drill through. And then here's my drop out vent, 51mm. Hopefully that'll fit. And now I'll just go in there, put a couple of screws in, sweep this all up, get this back in place. So I've cut this panel like a notch at the top. I've screwed a bit of batten along there. I've screwed this new one in just at the bottom into the bottom bunk, and I've screwed a batten along here. Now this should give me somewhere like to sit in my worktop in order to work out where it needs to be cut, and also when it gets to here I'm going to have to scribe around these areas and then along the back of this unit. So I think it's a case of getting my worktop and getting that all cut to fit, because I need to get the worktop cut in order to get the cooker into place, and then when the cooker's into place I can then figure out the pipework and all that underneath. Hopefully the cutouts and the holes I've drilled out will all work, but we'll only find out when we try it. So here's my worktop that I'm going to be using. It's got some Iroko, some beech and some oak and that in this one, and my tabletop that's going to be going over there by the seat, it's got some sapele and that in it as well, but these are just all off cut bits and they've just been joined together, but I love that's different wood. It's going to look lovely. Now I've put it along that edge, which obviously the gap there is about middle all the way down, which is just how it's sitting, and then along that edge there is okay, but then it starts to pull out there. Now that wall looks relatively straight to this point, and obviously you can see, but then I've got this. So what I'm going to do, because I've got 10.5 from this front here to here, or 10.7 centimeters, no, 9.7, sorry, and over here 8.2 from the framework there, from this edge here to here. So this gap here is about 15mm. So I'm going to notch this gap out here first, see if this worktop then go back, re-measure this gap from here to here, and see if we've got it relatively straight, and then I can get my final scribe in. But I just want to know that the gap from this to this is exactly where I want it. So as you can see faintly, there is a black line. Now this line from the wall is 720mm, and you can see it kind of comes out here where this touches, and then it goes back in and then around this area. So I'm not going to try to cut that with the jigsaw. And if I'm honest, if you can't hear me right now too well or anything because of the wind, I do apologise, but if I'm honest, I don't think it's going to cut very well because my jigsaw blades are shit and this is hardwood. Shit, I know how it's going. So as you can see, that's kind of, I've literally just had another little bit, just taken a little bit more out of this just to get it a little bit tighter. There's a little bit of a gap still, but it comes along quite nicely all the way. I've also got enough there for my doors to go on and in here. So that I'm really happy with. Now I've just got to sort out the back bit for the cupboards that are under here and work out the angle cut here. So there, I think, is going to be my worktop space. And obviously I've got to double check and do my measurements and cut out the area here for the cooker, and sink here, tap here. So I'm going to just make sure I get all my calculations correct, measure everything out, double check, triple check, quadruple check, to make sure everything works out fine. And obviously this gap at the back is going to get sealed in anyway and along this edge, and then I'm going to have a backsplash on here, and obviously I'll seal that in, so any little gaps here not going to be seen or noticed later on anyway. But I can say I am over the moon with that. And also the bit of worktop that I've cut off this end here, I'm actually going to have on like a flip up shelf brackets, so we can extend this worktop a little bit further too. So I'll make all my measurements from that, get everything cut up, and get that fitted in too. So that's the worktop all in. As you can see, this is all back to fresh wood. Got rid of all the burn marks. And I've also took this sharp edge off just with the sander. That's all cut out and kind of in place. And the sink's in. Let me just rip this out quickly. And you can also see there, I've had to route out where the overflow waste bit of the sink is. So obviously that will go under the worktop there. This is like an undermount sink, but I'm actually going to be mounting a surface mount on top like so. But I am over the moon how this come together. I'm going to secure this into place, then go get the cooker, test fit the cooker in place, see if all is well. Let's put this bad boy in. So as you can see, I'm kind of under the worktop. This is the pipe for the gas into the back of the cooker, and this is obviously my copper pipe that's going to my gas bottles and the switches bits to turn the gas on and off. And obviously you can see just an 8mm compression fitting going from the 2. That then goes down and then through this bit here and behind me to the gas cupboard in the corner, as you can see right there. Now, let's show you the actual cooker. I don't know, looking here, I should be looking here. The camera's here, but the screen's there. God knows. So there you go, that's all in place. Oven. And this obviously goes up with your 3 hobs, and it absolutely fits lovely. So happy with it. It's so tidy. Once backsplash and all that's in, it's gonna look absolutely lovely with the sink as well. Look, cannot complain how this is coming on at all.
Sorry.
So telling me to grow up. Anyway, so as you can see, I've just carpeted the back of these. Now, some people might think it's too much carpet, but you know the vans with all the cladding and wooden, I don't like it. And I've got this carpet still, got loads of spare, so I used it. I might cover this corner up, although you can't really tell too bad, but this actually is a join. This is one bit here and one bit here, but I probably will put some sort of edging over that when I edge all the step and stuff. Now, that's done, and the reason I've done that is because I'm going to be having those fold-up shelf brackets here and then an extended bit of worktop, but I couldn't put them on obviously until that was done. And the next part of this video is going to be this bad boy. I've got myself, oh, hit that a bit too hard, a tap, which is going to be going somewhere here for the sink, and also, as you can see, it's one of those ones you can pull out for a shower, because obviously tap's here. You can then use it also outside, wash your hair, rinse your feet, whatever. So, let's just open this up. That's one of them, which is quite good actually how it works. And that is the tap. I've got a black tap, I've got a black cooker, and I've also got the black fridge, which is coming out of the old van. So I'm going to figure this out, get this mounted, and I'll show you when it's done. So quickly actually, before we get fitting into the tap, these are the foldable shelf brackets. And it's going to be hard for me to open because I've only got one hand, but that is like that. These will be mounted on the side here, and obviously you just click this lever here and then they fold down. So I've got 2 of them, and they were literally like £11 off Amazon. And I've got some of these before on our food trailer that we've done, which is in other previous videos in this channel if you look back. This is like for, this is a blocker. This will go in the end of the tap because you have 2 inlets, obviously cold and hot water, and obviously we're only going to be using one water inlet. So this will go into the other one to block it off. Obviously, let's make sure I put in the hot one. And the last bit to show you is this. Now, this is obviously like the pigtail bit that will go into the tap. But this on the end, if you look, it's got a John Guest 12mm speed fit pipe fitting. So my water pipe will just go straight into this. This will go straight into the tap, and Bob's your uncle. So I just wanted to show you those bits. I'm going to put on a time lapse. We'll get it fitted. Now, sorry about the sun glare, but it's now Monday night, and I've been carrying on with this cupboard. Now, I had to put the batten up the top and on this end panel bit the other day, didn't I, to get the worktop in to fit the cooker. And now that's in, I've put this batten in here. And the reason I've done that, instead of putting, like a normal kitchen, you'd have the cupboard there, and then the end panel on the end. So I've put the batten in, and I'm going to use the hinges for the door off of the batten. I don't know why I'm out of breath, I'm so hot. I'll put a shelf in the middle, and I've used that with the batten. It's a bit wider spread, so I'll put the batten in there, and obviously with the 12mm ply instead of using like 15 or 18. I've also done down here and kind of cut around that wheel arch. It's not perfect here, as you can kind of see from that shadow line. That's pretty good. And then I've left the toe kit gap underneath, which I will put the plinth on there when it comes to doing the doors and everything. So that's where that's at. Now on to something else. But all in all, I think that is looking absolutely amazing. Let's put the end up. Quickly have a look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. So as you can see here, this is obviously the sink. If you look carefully, there's a slight gap all the way around. And the reason for this is, this edge inside here, if I lift this up a bit more, it's rounded. And this edge where I've cut it is like just a corner. So what I need to do is get the sander here, just sand off this edge so it kind of rounds over a bit. Hopefully that thing can get in to sit flat. So I think I'm actually going to be calling it a wrap on this video for this, like building the kitchen area. Now I haven't sealed the sink in yet. The reason for that is when it comes to me fitting all the water tanks and all the pipe work and all the plumbing, obviously I'm going to have to be connecting this up to some sort of waste tank. Same with the shower. So I don't want to be sealing and gluing this in yet until I've got all the pipe work in place. Once that's in place, I can get the sealant underneath this, get the sink glued in. So I'm going to leave that until then. I've already connected the gas pipe to the cooker. So obviously later on when I connect all the gas pipe, all the plumbing, that'll then get done as well at the back. But the kitchen units are built, the worktop's cut and fitted. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and it looks absolutely amazing. When I do the cupboards above, I'll then put like the backsplashing on because I'll know where the cupboards come to, so I can do that. Just loads of little details, but I'm going to be doing them as I've done other bits. So it's going to be a wrap for this video on making the kitchen. Hope you like it. Hope you know, I really like it. It's come together really nicely. So don't forget to give us a like, share and subscribe, and always comment. And I'll see you in the next video.